big slogan of ours is, what does it look like to make history for our club?
The belief is there. Go and try and get these points and hopefully make the playoff run.
It might be grim. It might be as cloudy as outside has been, but the performance on Wednesday gives a little positivity for the Dash season so far. So once again, welcome again to another edition for the Orange and Blueprints, a Friday edition. I know it's been always a little up and down, just because of scheduling and everything. It's crunch time, but we're always wanting to be here with with you all again. I'm your host, Manny Olivares, and with some new swag that Diego has, my co-host, man. Look, what you got over there, man?
Down H Town bought it the moment I touched down in Houston because you guys wanted your favorite Dash co-host to wear some more Dash merch, and so we ended up copping some swag. Super happy to do that, and super happy to be back. And we've got, like you mentioned, a ray of sunshine with what I would label as a great performance from your Houston Dash over the midweek matchup, and even better, this is our second episode of the week as we look forward to a rainy match for Houston as they head up against Angel City FC. We've got plenty to talk about, plenty to discuss. Manny, as always, being the absolute legend that he is, and me trying my best to match him. But let's get this episode started.
I know. That's what I was gonna say. Let's talk about rainy match. This past Wednesday match was supposed to be a rainy match as well. I think it was supposed to be what I thought. My thought that it was supposed to be uh a rain out, but it did not. It actually was raining goals.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest. So
Right.
let's go recap real quick. It started to be in the first half very, very to the San Diego's side. Dudinho with a golazo. I just say that for 19 years old to come up and just do that, that's unspeakable. Low key, she's under the radar for MVP, but for her age and everything, it's pretty much. But it was interesting, just the tactics that that Fabrice made. You know, technically still started with a 4-2-3-1, but when it started to with the ball and everything, it kind of looked like a 3-4-2-1 with Rader being the sole striker and Allmark and Maggie Graham and Daddy Caraprico and A.K. Harden, but with Patterson and Lissa Boateng as kind of your fullbacks, your wing backs, as per se, and that kind of helped a lot in the performance as well. Even though still got scored on later on, but I just felt like the counterattack and just getting into the box was very more productive by the Houston Dash, and it showed up in the second half. Even though Fabrice in the second half he made a quick change for Danny Cataprico and for Kate Faasse to go back to his regular formation as well, and they actually lit a fire on them. And, Kate Faasse scored an unbelievable goal, and also Kate Rader as well. She has scored a score. She had moments in the game. I think she could have scored on one goal that hit the crossbar on what the hit the woodwork and it came off. I think that could have been almost a goal as well. And so she had, I think, one of her best performance as a forward line. And of course, sadly, in the around the 90th minute, that's when we're 80 about the 80, well, the 83rd minute, sorry, that Trini Byers uh, stumbled on Jane Campbell and kind of took her out for the game, and but also sadly enough, it was as well as her who made the equalizer at the dying minutes of the game as well. Just quick over your thoughts about the 2-2 draw on Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was a good performance. I, I mean, we've all seen San Diego's brilliance throughout the stretch of the season ever since the Houston Dash beat them in the opener. I think their talent is kind of speaking for itself, and for Houston to really rally and really create opportunities from really nowhere. I thought it was a phenomenal effort. I mean, you see Kate Faasse really get her first professional goal, and you see this within most strikers around the league, where you get your first, which is arguably the hardest to get, and then the goals rain. Hopefully, it'll rain in the Angel City game, but this is a huge boost of confidence for her. And then Kat Rader getting a golazo, I would label it as that, and I think it just continues to speak to her grit and her performance. Post game, um, seeing her after the match, I was there. I know, Manny, you weren't able to make it, but really observing the fact that her and also the rest of the team really took this as kind of like a loss. It shows how good this team can really be on their good days, and I think we've seen great performances from players like her, from Lisa Boateng, which really was flexible. I thought was great. I thought her ability to move up and down the field. This is kind of what we were promised when it comes to a Lisa Boateng performance. And yeah, admittedly, there were some players that really couldn't really show their best. An example of Sophie Schmidt. Congratulations to her, by the way, for 150 appearances. Phenomenal player. I felt like that injury rehab is still getting her to 100%, and I felt like it kind of showed. But again, it's this kind of conversation that we're having of like, are these performances really on the player or on the situation? Um, San Diego was lucky to really equalize in that moment. I would argue that um, Caroline DeLille, regardless of her performance as a goalkeeper coming in after Campbell's injury, really wasn't going to stop that. And I felt like the momentum was really shifted and really was halted when Campbell went down. I think the storyline is always, the one of the captains, one of the leaders, goes down. You rally around that and you get that third goal. But I don't think that's the reality of these games. These especially grittier games, where you saw the first game against San Diego be gritty, be tough, be kind of like a kind of a hard one to get out of. And despite the goal difference where this, when we really saw a goal fest, I would argue it was the same style of game, where it was fouls all around. It was a tough, gritty game. And I think the scoreline reflected it. I think a draw really reflected that. And I felt like going into this week, I predicted that, this game was really going to be the game where they would sink their teeth into a gritty game and they'd get that point, and then the 3 points would go to Angel City. And I think, we're kind of seeing that. We asked the question in the last episode of where do the Dash go from here when it comes to the performances, and I think this is exactly where we need to see them. This is exactly where we need to see the Dash play. See the rookies kind of really like sink their teeth into this part of the schedule and get their performances really going. I think Kate Faasse has done that. I said that already. I think Maggie Graham was phenomenal. I think she was phenomenal. I think to see her really, really move around the midfield and kind of be extremely flexible. We saw that last season. I think this was the best example that we've seen all year of her. I think Malia Berkeley, you can't talk about this game without that save. You can't talk about the game without Malia Berkeley really sacrificing herself to really get that ball out of the back of the net and really make that goal line clearance. I mean, that's if you have a moment of the match, that and Kate Faasse's goal, I think, are two benchmark moments to really dictate how this game went. You mentioned it. A 19-year-old for San Diego to really dictate how they play, that's unbelievable. And I would make the argument unheard of. But these are all things that I think link to a positive result for Houston despite it being a draw. Because when you look at these teams in the NWSL and you see the result, great teams look at this as a loss. And the
Mhm.
Dash definitely saw it as instead of, oh, we picked up a point, they saw it as, oh, we missed out on two crucial points. And I think that's the mentality that's needed. I think Fabrice put in a really I want to hear your take about this, but a different lineup
Yeah.
um, this game, and I would make the argument it paid off. I think it paid off. I think it was bold. I think it paid off. I don't know if that's really the lineup that should be played consistently, but I think this game was at least measured really well. And before I get back to you, Manny, one last player that I really want to highlight is Amini Ekic. I thought she was given very few minutes. I thought she wasn't really given quite an opportunity other than late game, but I thought she was phenomenal. The way she created space, the way she moved in and out of that back line. I think the way she broke runs and kind of like created space. I thought that was phenomenal. I think we're going to see a lot of out of her in the next couple of games, and I think she's definitely a player that we should watch if we're looking at the Houston Dash.
Yeah, I think so. I think speaking of just your the lineup, I think this like I say, I don't think it's a lineup that we should be constantly putting out, but I think of all the players who's available, of all the players who are putting a performance, putting a shift, I think this is the best lineup that you might have until you get your I think you get your Kiki back, you know, and we'll see if, in the transfers window, when they open up in July, if we get another striker to complement Kiki. But at the moment, this is the best lineup that you have.
Mhm.
And so I pretty like that. One thing that I really interested about the lineup is the reliance of Kate Harden. I think her development real quickly has been I think someone that I thought maybe a little bit further down the line we'll see more and more. But for it looks like Fabrice is just putting her in the fire, and she is maybe not like off the wall doing a great performance, but she's getting the job done, and she's doing and having an impact on her, especially the role she's doing as a number six, trying to clean the box, just like her and Danny Calaprico are doing. I think the only thing I say about this lineup has benefit for the group is seeing like for Kat Radar, I think she has been one of the players that have been always constantly on the lineup. She has a few opportunities in the first half, but I feel like she, like EB Dash has said, maybe lock the confidence in it. But I think Fabrice knows that a player like her needs the attention, needs the space for that. And she, over time, I think what the problem with not with her or with the formation is like main things are asked from her. Either come into the wing or gain the ball for the midfielder, or sometimes being the number nine. So she never is very comfortable of doing everything. But now that she kind of solidify, okay, you are probably the best forward that we have at the moment, other than Kate Faasse, who I think as well is developing as well. I think it just gives them more opportunity to step up, and I think the little formation change, I think if benefit the rookies more. I feel like the previous one it kind of relied more on the rookies. Now it's more of a collective effort with the rookies because I feel like at this time around you had more opportunity to give a sub for Sarah Puttingham, Alicia Chapman, Sophie Schmidt, like you mentioned. So they are helping the rookies that come in and come. I know Paige got subbed off in the 1 minute for an nasty tackle. I know, but it looks like she's pretty good for this coming game for tomorrow. So nothing for that as well. So I just like the environment, just how the even though with injuries and everything, they're still able to do that as well. But the one injury that it's gonna be a very very question mark. You mentioned a little bit earlier is Jane Campbell. She's out already. We report that she's gonna be out for tomorrow's game. Still had dealing, I think, maybe going through with concussion protocol. Not very in detail. Fabrice mentioned his press release that they're doing day by day. Not specific like what, but most likely a concussion protocol for a head injury. Just seeing how she's doing. and now you have Caroline uh, Delizzi and goalkeeper. I know I just every that her name is just when I look at it I want to present something else, but this is her third year as a professional. I know she has played 2 years overseas. One of them that she was a starter. Now, but coming to NWSL, uh, I think people are a little bit more iffy about her because I think because she did, of course, didn't secure the rebound of the shot that was given to her that gave it to Bayer that scored the equalizer. But I feel like that was more of the nervousness and coming in to the game at a last minute notice more than anything. I think if you're mentally already know that you'll be the starter, you kind of already have a mental. But coming in almost a dying minutes when the game is on the line, kind of puts a lot of pressure on her. We think will the dash uh will not miss a beat per se with her in goalkeeper, or is it just maybe just brush off that one incident and see how she does for this game?
Yeah, no, I think firstly, I kind of like can speak to the fact that I don't really think it was like a confidence thing. I think if you're backing up the number one goalkeeper, you're kind of like at least at this level, you're ready. You're ready to
Yeah.
play. Um, I mean, I for those who don't know, I play goalkeeper. And I've been given the privilege to play with and practice with the Division 1 team every now and then at Fordham. When they need an extra person, they normally call me up and tell me pick the camera down, put the camera down. Um, I don't know whose idea that was, but nevertheless, I
I think
think
my idea.
I think on top of that, oh my gosh. But I think part of that is like staying ready. I think if you're going to play at that level, you're going to kind of mentally be ready, really wherever. In those areas, in those kind of roles, that's kind of part of the job. I think for the state of the dash moving forward with that, um, I mean that's the goal to really not miss a beat. Realistically, they're gonna be a little shaky, a little just like off tempo, I think. Because again, you're a different goalkeeper, a different setup, a different outlook with this. I think it's not really going to be anything against the players, more of just like this is just the situation, and you're going to have to deal with it. Um, I feel like Angel City is not as dangerous as a San Diego team on a consistent basis. What I mean by this, because I don't want to really say, oh, Angel City is not dangerous, and then we see the Dash concede 4 goals, and then everyone's gonna look at me and be like, oh, I thought they weren't dangerous. No, what I mean by this is more strictly understanding that Angel City thrive on counters. Angel City thrive on speed, on really on recognizing and picking up errors. And I think that is a lot more situational than San Diego's strength, which is really San Diego is extremely good on the ball. They're really good at controlling. They're just great at necessarily, um, dictating the flow of the game. And so I think a goalkeeper being switched would affect a San Diego game more than it would Angel City, because the Angel City game, you saw when they played away that the Dash really were able to limit Angel City to really only 2 minutes of brilliance, and I think those are kinds of things that don't affect a goalkeeper. I think those kinds of things don't are not caused because of a goalkeeper switch. Those
Mhm.
would be caused by like I don't know, like Paige Nielsen getting shifted early, a Clanky going down, or something like that in the back line that would really cause that, because that's where the speed and the counter attacking really gets utilized to really expose those switches. But I think if you're a goalkeeper, I don't see that really having the biggest impact.
Mhm.
Rather, I just see it, affecting the dash side of things. If they get the ball, they want to push it forward. You know how Fabrice likes to play on the ball and kind of really like control that and like feed it to the midfield, and those kinds of things I think will be affected. But defensively, to kind of finally answer your question, I don't think it's going to have the biggest impact because we see the dash get lucky with the opponent that gets played.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's just like I think maybe some will have concern just because I think they'll look at her and be like the the goal that they didn't handle well, but it's something that it happens. So it's not very I think to critique down, but I think fans may will remember that a little bit more. But I think moving on from that, I think it's just a very I think it's a good result. I think given what the table, given that San Diego was highly favored to win. I think it was a good result, good tie. Very, like you mentioned, just sour the mouth because they were leading for 2-1 onto the dying minutes and they got scored on the equalizer. So it was very interesting on that point. But like I said, quick turnaround. Nothing to just to reminisce of the past, just to build on the performance and going on to Angel City FC this weekend. And Angel City FC has been a team sort of like the Dash. They kind of copied the Dash as per se. They were very hot in the beginning of the season, but once the international break came in, they would just like they're really shoot themselves in the foot of how the momentum they had the beginning of the season. But I think for Angel City, it was kind of a little bit different. Well, same thing as the Dash. Injury to major players that very affected their lineup. And of course, they're as well. I think they had to face big teams off the
Mhm.
break. They faced a Portland, who's number one, currently number one in the table right now. They're facing a red hot Utah Royals. They face, of course, on the second team, the San Diego Wave, and they face Portland again. And they, of course, recently they beat Kansas City 2-1. So they're off the break for the uh for the international break wasn't very easy you
Mhm.
know, it was very complicated. But of course, they're missing a couple players. Jan Starter, who was their scorer, who was previously leading the Golden Boot, is off injured with a foot injury. Savvy King, who thought was going to help the defense with Sarah Gordon and Emily Sams, she's off injured again as well. And now with tomorrow's game, Ari Borges has questionable on her foot as well, so that will affect their game. Just before we go to the preview, how you view this Angel City side compared how we faced them in the beginning of the season?
Yeah, I think it'll be a foil of really what we saw the Dash play San Diego. I think San Diego got better, got more cohesive. You saw the pieces of what they could become, and now we see San Diego really be that team. Whereas Angel City, we saw that team earlier in the season. We saw that in 2 minutes of brilliance, and now we really can't recognize this Angel City team, and I feel like they've kind of like looked less cohesive than Houston has. I think Houston at least has tried to play in similar ways than
Mhm.
than, than they have when they beat Boston 3-0 and things like that. I think it just hasn't been clicking. Um, Angel City kind of looks unrecognizable, even when they try to play that fast, high octane style of play. It just shows that that kind of style is not working. It's not clicking. It's just
Yeah.
not. It's just not getting the results that need be. And so I think if you're the Houston Dash, you love the fact that this team is down on its dumps. You love that because a red hot Angel City is one of the most dangerous teams to play against in the league because when you play a speedy team, when you play a team that thrives off that, when they're hot, they will be unbeatable. But when they're cold, when they're ice, it's yours for the taking. If you are the Houston Dash and you want 3 points, I think it's going to be the opposite of what we saw in Wednesday's game, and yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's going to be very interesting. I think because I feel like this team, due to the injuries and due to the just I think rotation, squad change, the lineup changes, they rely mostly on their defense to create attacking. Of course, Giselle Thompson, is the one I may know of because she does play that fullback, so wing back, winger at sometimes. And right at the moment, without John Starter, she's the one that's mostly, I would say, the most dangerous threat in the attack. If you get the ball away from her, I feel like Angel City at this point, currently, just right now, if you take the ball away from Giselle Thompson, I feel like it's very slows down the effective because, of course, you on the other side, Evelyn Shores, who has been a real uh, defensive anchor for the defense because as soon as Giselle Thompson, she's basically covering the back line for the other full to make sure it's cohesive, it's tight. But I think the main idea is for the dash is try to get the ball away from them and try to make sure that they have enough time on the ball to get behind the defensive, especially past Giselle Thompson. Go from there. I think it's if Fabrice puts out the same lineup, I think for he tried on Wednesday should theoretically improve a lot better against the Angel City side. And so it's just very much just getting the right pieces and everything and making sure that when Giselle has the ball, you're not too out of your formation or too deep in that she can just straight damage you or expose your back line. But that's pretty much how I see this game going. But I think I think Breeze mentioned that he was very excited for this game's match. Quick turnaround, saw the good, huge performances, a huge just how the team is performing. Just trying to see if they can get a result on this game. So with that in mind, Diego, how do you see this game turn out? What is your score line, or how will the team go for?
I think we're not going to see too many goals. I think it's going to be a 1-0. I'm going to be positive. I'm going to say a 1-0 win. The reason why I say a win is I think Houston is going to have just the right amount of momentum. And I'm assuming it's going to be raining tomorrow. So I'm going to assume one, Houston's going to have momentum. Kate Faasse is going to have a great game. I think her first goal is really going to really be the breaker when it comes to these performances because I think we are going to see a more effective number 9 moving forward from her. I'm going to assume Angel City is not going to be able to play that quick style in the rain. And then 3, I'm going to assume that everybody else on the dash is going to keep their performances at a high. I think Sophie Schmidt's going to get better. I think those kinds of things are going to be fixed. I didn't have a problem with it in the San Diego game, and I don't think I'm going to have a problem with it now. I think Maggie Graham, Danny Colaprico, they're going to have excellent games like they normally do. I think Lisa Boatin is going to be ever so slightly better. I think Avery Patterson is going to be phenomenal. You get the idea. I think those 3 things are going to lead to a 1-0 dash win.
Okay. I I feel the same way. I feel like this past game showed a real boost to the team. Maybe not the perfect game, but something to build on. I think that's I think that's my like you mentioned, something to build on, something to they kind of know identify their roles, and it worked. So just continue to build on that, continue to move forward, and see how the team goes on. So I do believe I say it will be a 2-1 uh goals just because I do see how the dash can hurt Angel City, but I can see also how Angel City can hurt the dash as well. I think uh last game it was very very you saw last game, maybe with a lot of course both team missing key players from last game, but you saw both last game they were both inside each other's boxes real much often, and so I feel like that might come into play as well for this game. So I do see a 2-1 win for the Dash. So
2-1.
so
Okay.
so that's we'll see how it goes. We see.
So
You never
you're saying a goal fest.
2-1's not go fast. 2-1's
2-1?
like
Come on. That's
I'm not saying like a 3-2 or
come
3-3.
on. 2-2, you call the goal fest.
Hey man, hey, compared what we're having this past weeks, it seemed like a goal fest to me.
Man.
Man, unless you take the 3-0 or the 4-1 from Denver, a goal fest. It was a goal fest, but not from
Hey,
the
or a
Denver.
3-0 against Boston. Don't forget about the good performances. You know me. I will be positive to your negative, Nate.
What was this? Oh yeah, man, that was it, man. I was like 3-0. I was like, when was that? I was like, man, that was
Boston. Boston.
that was
Boston. Pack a card
bad.
in the Boston yard.
But
Yeah, we
it just
beat
shows you.
them.
It just shows you like how quick the NWSL is. You flip your performances and boom, it changes. But
Yeah,
that's
no,
three.
you're not kidding. You're not kidding with that one.
Yeah, but it just shows you. Uh, one game you may not be cooking, and the other game you just be flat. So hopefully this time the Dash could build on something. And you got two games coming up. You got Angel City and you got Gotham on Sunday. So you build on those and you continue moving forward onto the next into the onto to the break and reconvene after the break. So we'll see how it goes from there. But thank you once again for everyone tuning in on this special Friday edition. We would like to thank as well for our sponsors, Ugly Guppy, Lotus Bravos, and We Got Soccer. I know Diego about to say something, but let me finish this line before I forget.
Absolutely not. Absolutely
Uh,
not.
always look out for us at BayouCitySoccer.net, at our Instagram, YouTube, uh, Threads, Blue Sky. I forgot. I don't know. At Twitter X, I think so. I think that's all.
TikTok.
And TikTok. But Diego, what's on your mind? What's on your mind? What do you want to say to people before we leave?
Say to the people, thank you for watching our 2 episode week. We really appreciate you guys tuning in, commenting, liking all of our stuff. We love to give you guys all of the Dash content that y'all want. And that Manny is wrong. 2-1 is a goal fest. I don't want to hear it.
Uh,
I don't want to hear it. 2-1 is a goal fest. The
uh,
average soccer game is like 1-0, and we all know it. So 2-1, 3 goals or more is a goal fest.
you let me know on Wednesday night when we come back and see how that goes.
All right. I'd like to
Uh,
see it.
Against yeah, and then on Wednesday night we'll review that game and we'll review we'll have the Diego Derby on
Diego
that
Derby. Oh
the
my
Diego
god.
Derby on Sunday. So we'll see a lot of mixed emotions on Diego on that Wednesday night. But let's see
I
how
am
it goes.
a Gotham fan. Oh my
Man,
gosh.
man, but before we go, but did America whoop Gotham in the Women's Champions Cup?
Dude, you're the fifth person from my friends that have told me that score, expecting me to care. I I cover Gotham. You all know that. Doesn't mean I'm a fan of the team.
I know, but still,
I
still,
do my job.
I know, but still, does that surprise you though?
No, not really. I think Gotham's getting spread a little thin. I think to just give my take for the minute that we have left because I know Manny wants to go to sleep. Um, Yeah, look at them. I think the team is spread too thin. I think they're figuring out how to really help Esther Gonzalez with her scoring drought, and I think it's not really the most sustainable thing. But Gura Rayton is going to really continue to get involved in that team, so we will see Gotham be perfectly fine. But that's it.
Okay. Hopefully, they don't have it fine by in next week when we face them. So, so, but no, but thank you once again for another edition, and hope to see you next Wednesday with a quote unquote goal fest that Diego is manifesting. So
3 goals is a goal fest. Let me know in the comments. Send me a message. We will figure that out. Is 3 goals or more a goal fest?
all right. Thank you for all. We'll see you on Wednesday.